Hey, what's up, fellow techs? Sheldon X. I'm doing a ThinkPad X1 Carbon G9 motherboard replacement. I'm also going to show you how to brand the motherboard serial information. And I'm just playing this as a raw file. Not raw file. What I mean to say is I'm just kind of doing like I do on-site tech work, so I go to multiple offices or apartments. Sometimes I even do them in Starbucks. I'm just gonna show you the way that I do this in a variety of situations, and they could vary. Um, so you'll see right here, I always start by taking the battery out because most of the time the battery is overlapping the motherboard. And either way, it's just a safe practice to always remove the battery anyway, because you don't want to cause any shorts. So got the battery out. This specific model has about 6 screws, if I recall. Here I'm gonna start taking off the side screws of the motherboard. I don't have a specific order. It might be due to having ADHD. I have no idea, but yeah, I kind of take them off in a kind of like I don't have a set pattern. I just kind of go by what I feel like doing. But it'd probably be best to make sure that you have your screws organized, which I do. And I use a magnet pad, which is off screen right now. But I, at least in that sense, I always have my screws in order of how I take them off. I'm using some magnet pad that I got from Amazon that has like a 16 by 8 grid, something like that. Yeah, so I pretty much put the screws, I take the screws out and put them in the direction that they came from. So what am I doing here? So I'm still working on the screws. This one is for the USB connector, which would be on the right side of the laptop when you open it. The one below it would have been the 3.5 jack. This one right here is going to be the heatsink. On this model, it's connected with the fans, but some models have the fan connected by itself. So this one is fairly easy to remove. Just remove the fan connector. And that's the heatsink coming off. I'm giving it a little dusting. I don't like to use compressed air. I think it's bad for the environment and bad for you. So I just kind of brush while holding the fan so that it's not spinning while I'm brushing it. Excuse my funky fingernails, but I'm working with computers all day. I am washing my hands, but there's a lot of dust in these little critters, so you know, it is what it is. I tend to keep my nails a little bit long for these types of repairs for various reasons, mostly because I like to take everything out with my fingers because I just find it a lot faster and a little bit more accurate. Here I'm taking out the NVMe, fairly easy, one screw. Well, this one is two, but you get what I'm going at. I like to place whatever is from the previous board onto the other board while I'm doing the repair. It kind of makes the workflow a little faster for me.
Yeah, Ed said he was going to send it to you via, they did miss one. The last character was missing. Yeah, I have like an apostrophe. I was going to say, you have a meeting in like 5 seconds.
I'm not exactly sure what I what I was trying to do there. I don't remember. Um, but let's proceed with the removal. So I'm just taking off the ribbon cables here. I believe that's the keyboard. The next one would be the trackpad.
The crinkle cut ones.
These ones that I'm touching now are for the speakers. They're very tiny. I actually didn't use my nails for those because
Gotcha.
I don't want to pull them out like left and right. When you pull them out left and right, and what I mean by left and right is like you kind of wiggle it out from one side and then to the other.
If you do it
You can
too high,
seriously damage the pins, and they
crinkle
can be
cut
a
will
real
will
pain in the
sometimes.
ass to position back into place. So try to slide it out straight, or at least just slightly get it out from each side. But when you pull it out at once. These are the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth antennas. Fairly easy to get out. A pain in the freaking ass to put back. Um, it'll come with time, but I must have did over 500 repairs and I still have problems with them. I don't know why. So I move all the cables out of the way and then I lift the board up. And I just simply put the other board back in. Make sure that you have all of the cables that you removed exposed so that you don't put the board down and crush whatever is under it. That could be a pain in the butt. A lot of the times I try to fold the cables back like that, but you know they'll
Tyler,
flex
exactly
back.
what I said.
So
They missed
just
the
use
charger.
some kind of tool. I used a tweezer to remove it from under just a little bit. Other than that, as you can see, the board is pretty much back on. So you just gotta, do what you did in reverse. You can go backward in this video. Um,
Yeah.
literally from this
Yeah,
point.
it was a full
I
damage.
will give a heads up that for some reason my GoPro just decided to not want to record everything. But the last thing
Fun.
that
Tired.
is not shown is simply putting the heatsink back on, putting the thermal paste.
It has its ups and downs.
So it's not too big a deal.
I feel like a lot of the downs are like mental, like those downs, like nothing like straight up. 'Cause it seems so simple, nothing's really moving except you. The ball doesn't move, like it's just sitting there. So it seems so simple, but like when you mess up, you just spiral. You just spiral. But it's definitely one of those things where it's like you do like one thing really good,
Sometimes you screw
and you
the
become like intoxicated with like
before you screw the
doing
audio
stuff all the
connector
time.
in. Just be aware that it's in flush because you don't want it to snap down. Kind of look on the side to see if it's in
Mini
correctly
golf is
into the
fun.
port.
I enjoyed mini golf a lot, but yeah, I mean obviously it's not. You're hitting the ball in
With
the
these
grass. It's not
cables,
trying to get
they
it up in the
are
air.
actually crossed,
It's a
so
big
they don't
difference.
go
But I
straight
love mini golf.
into
I
where
think
they
it's fun.
look like they should go. They actually cross like an X.
Shoot, if you could be good at mini golf, as long as you can hit the ball in the air, you're like 10 steps ahead of everybody else.
I'm just using the tweezer to
100%.
make sure that it's aligned. I'm not stabbing or poking at anything.
Like, to be completely honest. Daylight.
This one just goes flat down in. Just make sure it's aligned. Don't push down too hard while you're aligning it, but you will feel when it's centered.
Bro, I'm not gonna front. The last two people that I've talked to that have went to like a weekend concert have all said that they felt like it was like a seance.
Bro, literally, that's like a weird damage they got said to me. Oh, really? No, bro, they're losing the phone.
Yeah, see, like that, bro. I'm telling you, it's getting weird. It's getting real weird, dude. No, he's a very good performer. definitely just seems very
Bro, literally, when the music went down, everybody was like,
what is going on here? What are we really doing here? Like, it definitely, I don't know, man. Sometimes the like concerts now, when I like when you zoom out, you know, because obviously when you're watching it, it's different. Like when you're in front of it, but when you like zoom out and watch, you're like, oh shit, this is a little funky.
yeah, I was bobbing, but I was like,
Yeah,
hmm,
I was saying it's a little weird. It's just a little bit, like just a little bit.
why this happened?
Like why, why they got these people praying on stage? Like, what's going on here? But nah, the weekend I've heard from a lot of people he's like an amazing performer.
Oh, cool. I see why this happened.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the talent's one thing, but like, yeah, like performing is just a whole
I didn't know
different
he sung
animal.
everything. He didn't play music.
Yeah, he doesn't lip sync.
Yeah.
No, he's a very talented singer. He the only concert I've ever seen of his was the one that he did for Amazon Prime.
What album was that?
That was I think it was two albums before this one.
The Old Man album?
I don't remember which. It was the one after. It sounds weird. It's the one after the one where he like faked the prosthetic. Do you remember that?
Oh, with the broken
He had
nose.
like the broken nose and like the weird
Yeah,
jaw.
yeah. The one that he did the
It was the one right after that. And that's the only concert I've ever seen of his. Like obviously it wasn't in person. I just like watched the concert on TV.
That's what Blind was.
But he was just so like it was so good. After Hours, I think it is. Not the Star Wars one.
I think I got one.
No, I'm pretty sure it's After Hours. I think that was the album that
The one that he like disfigured himself, right?
yeah, it's this one. Where he has a blood in his mouth.
Yeah. That was a great album.
Yeah.
Great
So like I
album.
watched that concert and like wow. Oh, what's up? Thank you. Yeah, we met him on Thursday, I think it was. Did a little walkthrough. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is the part I was talking about. Yeah, that's what happened. All right, so for the branding process, you're gonna obviously need the Lenovo branding tool, Planar. I can't really link you to that, but I'm pretty sure a quick Google search may help you to find it. Just don't want to get into any issues by linking things.
Did he just forward me the same, not completely?
So I have just, put everything back together, and I just wanted to show you how long it could potentially take. Every device is different. They have different times. You see that the power indicator is on. So at this point, the system is just learning the new hardware that's just been installed, so it could take some time. So don't be scared. Don't worry. It'll eventually come on. And if it doesn't, then you'd have to do some further diagnosis that we'll go into another time. As you can see, I have my phone on the right, which has my ticket for the job. It has the serial number and the device number, the MTM, which we're gonna need to brand onto the system. I'm gonna have to blur this out, but you'll see what I'm talking about. I'll just explain it as we go along. Okay, system's booted. So the first thing I want to do usually is just go right into the BIOS. And I want to set the time, the date and time. Make sure it's correct. As you can see there, machine type model and serial, they are invalid, which means that there is no serial and model MTM number. So we're going to have to brand those in. But like I said, I'm going to do the date and time first. If you can't boot into your branding tool, that's because secure boot is on, which would be in the security tab, and then you scroll all the way down to secure boot and you disable it. It could be a bit annoying because what you have to do is when you actually boot the tool in the first place, it's gonna make you reset all the settings anyway. Don't ask why it does it. It just does it. Get used to it. Which is why at this point I didn't set it, because usually it's disabled off the bat anyway. But for some reason, when you launch the tool, it's gonna reset everything, and then you would have to actually go into the BIOS later after it resets, which you'll be seeing shortly. So I actually made a mistake here. I just missed the timing to go to the to press F12, which is the boot menu key. There we go. And I'm gonna boot my device. I forgot to put it in. Oops. It happens. I was trying to record while doing it, so I can make some small mistakes, but it's no big deal. Again, you can skip most of this. I just want you to see how long it could take to do this process. Okay, so we're gonna do planar tool. And I just skipped that real quick, but this is the screen I was telling you that's gonna say that it has to initialize the settings anyway. So as soon as this restarts from this screen, I'm automatically gonna go and press F1 to go to the BIOS. It might reset a few times, so don't worry, you just do it all over again. Another thing to note here is that you could actually mute the speaker when this starts up, in case you have other customers around you, if it bothers them, by pressing function and F1, which is the mute. You can see that I enabled it. Okay, so I just turned off secure boot, which is gonna let us now boot back into the branding tool once again. I hope they change this later. So I'm gonna go press F12, go to the boot menu, choose my key. It's the waiting game. Okay, choose planar, press enter, one planar service, configure new through. So here, to brand this, we're gonna start with 1S, and then we're gonna put the MTM code, and then we're gonna put the serial number all together, but always start with the MTM and then the serial. There are some times where if you started with 1S and then it enters and then it says something like the serial was wrong. So on some devices, they literally want you to put the serial first and then the MTM. You will know when that time has come to do that, if you start with 1S and it just interrupts you before you even finish you putting all the information. So just note that. But on this system, I did 1S, I typed the MTM, and then I typed the serial all together, no spaces, and I pressed enter, and then it's gonna ask me if I have the correct device model name. If it's correct, I press enter. If you're on a US keyboard, it's gonna say, do you wanna keep this same keyboard layout or type a new one? I always just type 0409 and press enter. And that will brand a device. And that should be the end of that. You won't hear or see that message again. And now I just wanna make sure it's gonna boot back to the BitLocker screen, which means that it should boot later on. Then the customer takes care of everything from that point on. So let's see if we get the boot. And there you have it. That's how you replace the motherboard and brand the motherboard. I hope this helps you, and I hope you have a good day. Peace.